One thing I do know as a straight man is I'm never going to sit shoulder to shoulder courtside with a gay man under any circumstances. I'm never going to be friends with a gay man because I am a man and I understand how the male mind works. The male mind is full of lust. So if you are a gay man, that means you lust after men. I'm not going to be hanging with somebody who wants to enter my exit. And that's no offense intended. I'm just not going to be doing that. I'm not going to hang with a woman who is attracted to me. I'm not going to be doing that. And so that right there raised a lot of red flags. And it was almost like Shannon was telling the little boy, I'm going to take and show you publicly, and I'm going to take this chance and I'm going to show you publicly because of what we got going on behind closed doors. And now you giving me a hard time about I'm trying to hide. I'm going to show you I ain't scared. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take you out in public. And so took him out in public and thought people were just going to look at it and think nothing of it. And then we looked and we said, even that sweater you got on is suspect. So then everybody went with that narrative that Shannon Sharpe gay. And then now this is all from that. This all the backlash from that. And I'm going to tell you, I know gay athletes who are gay males who are gay, but they call it bisexual because they deal with women too. There's no such thing as bisexual. You could sleep with a man, you could sleep with a woman, but you gay. Or you a lesbian. There's no such thing as bisexual. You one or the other. And so bisexual is that you sleeping with two different genders, but you gay. And so there's another gay male athlete who does the same thing. And I know him personally because I worked with his team. And he did the same thing to where he would sleep with men, but to try to convince himself he wasn't gay, he would sleep with the dirtiest and the freakiest and the nastiest women. Really wouldn't sleep with a regular woman, wouldn't really deal with regular women, still have not settled down to this day, still have not got married to this day, because they be forever trying to fight the spiritual physical. They're trying to fight the spiritual physically. So they're trying to exercise, not exercise in the gym, EXOR, exercise the demon through sexual activity. They trying to convince themselves by pounding in a woman. They trying to convince themselves. And I'm going to tell you something. As a heterosexual man, now this young lady say that Shannon Sharpe inserted himself in her anus without her permission. And I'm going to tell you, like I tell you, I know more than I could say. So I 1000% believe that he did it just because of information that I have just in my life about these men and about particular men. And so I 1000% believe it. And I know a lot of people are not shocked by that. But I'm going to tell you one thing as a heterosexual man, that nothing about that act, even with a woman, is appealing. Nothing about that act is appealing. Nothing about that act is enticing. And if a man wants to do that all the time and enjoy that, I will venture to say as a heterosexual man that man is homosexual. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as a man, there's nothing on a woman's body that's going to compare to what God gave her in the front that a man is intended for. And so anywhere that fruit cannot be produced, God is not there. God is not there. If it's not, meaning that if, not to say if a woman can't have children, because that's how her body is made. But we're not supposed to be inserting in somewhere that reproduction cannot happen. That right there lets you know that it is not of God, because God is a multiplier. God is a producer. God is, he turns a seed into a harvest. So a man entering an exit, that does not have reproductive power, that's not of God. You're not supposed to be doing that. And a woman can endure it or put up with it or whatever it is, but that body part is not made to do what it is on the front is made to do. Because if what's on the back was made to do that, then a woman would give birth out of the back and not out the front. So, and that's another thing of why a man who dealing with loose and nasty women will want to be in the back, because of the difference in elasticity, as we know. But that in itself is sick and deranged. You need therapy. If that's your idea and that's what you want to do, you're sick, and you need to sit down and you need to talk about it. You might need a pill or two. Not nothing that's going knock you out of nothing, but you might need something. You might need daily therapy to just say, okay, yeah, let me come to my senses on this right here. Like, this ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this, what's wrong with me? Like, what did I see? What did I go through? What have I experienced? And you got to get that thing together. You got to get that thing together. So think about that, though, and get your mind right. Get your mind right.
The commentary in the video clip you just viewed is by entrepreneur and life coach Tony Gaskins. And he was providing his views about the professional former athlete Shannon Sharpe and his very viral situation. Shannon Sharpe is in the news about a very high-profile lawsuit filed against him from a young lady who is an OnlyFans P-star. And Shannon Sharpe allegedly is being accused of essay and rape. The young lady was only 19 years of age at the time that she met Shannon Sharpe, according to the filed paperwork, allegedly, and they dated almost 2 years, and the relationship was rocky, but consensual. And there's a lot of talk about Shannon Sharpe's relationships, specifically, what is his sexuality? And I wanted to address that in this video today, because we all know that there's a lot of memes and a lot of commentary in social media around Shannon Sharpe, and they like to poke fun at the way he dresses. Shannon Sharpe is one of the most physically fit men who lives on the earth. Clearly, the man is into fitness. He is an athlete. He takes a lot of care for his physical body. And he likes to wear clothes that fit his physique. And he's been criticized for wearing tight clothing. And, well, most people think that a man should not wear fitted clothing unless he is literally playing like a sport. For example, if you're a wrestler, wrestlers wear tight fitted clothes. If you are a football player, and Shannon Sharpe is a former pro athlete, very successful athlete. And when you play sports, you learn you have to wear fitted clothes. I used to play volleyball. We had to wear fitted clothes, and there's this misconception. I'm kind of giving you a little story, and then I'll go back to the Shannon Sharpe situation and the commentary that Tony Gaskins spoke on regarding Shannon Sharpe and allegedly his sexual orientation. When you see female athletes, people like to go and look at women athletes perform in the same way they like to go see male athletes perform. But you hear people complain about men wearing too tight clothing when they're off the field. When they're on the field, it's okay. There's a reason for that. And I'm going to give you some information that most people don't know. I used to play sports when I was in high school. When I used to play volleyball, I had to wear fitted clothing, and usually your shorts are kind of short. People think that women wear these clothes to get attention, like attention from men or whatnot. That was never my reason, because I'm a lesbian, so I was never seeking male attention. And I honestly was not even seeking attention from women. The reason why athletes, male or female, wear fitted clothes is because it allows you to move more freer. It gives you more flexibility to perform better in the sport. Because if you think about it, if you have loose clothing, it can wear you down. And it could also prevent you from winning the game, literally. Someone can get caught up in your clothing as well. So you have to consider the safety of yourself, the safety of your teammates, and also the opponent team. But here's something else with women biologically. Women actually have smaller pores on their skin. You know how when you sweat, so you have pores in your skin that allow you to secrete and sweat. And sweat is actually good for you because it keeps you hydrated and it allows your body to basically breathe. And it keeps you cool. So that's why you sweat. Women have smaller pores than men biologically. So when women are playing sports, our clothes are fitted, but also our clothes are also not covering the entire body. And that is because we have smaller pores, and we need to be able to allow our skin to breathe when you're playing sports. So it's a health reason behind it. If you are covered up fully, and if you had on a bunch of baggy clothes while you were playing sports, whatever sport it is, you will not last long. You might actually literally pass out. So there's a reason behind why athletes wear fitted clothing. And women, it's not really true that we're trying to look skimpy and trying to get attention from other people. Now, I will admit there are some extremes. I think that anyone who plays sports, whether you're a male or you're a female, you should still be considerate of how you present yourself in your attire as an athlete, because you can actually overdo it. You can over sexualize anything, honestly. And so you do want to be mindful of that. But I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. But back to the Shannon Sharpe situation. They make fun of him and the clothes he wears because they say he wears his clothes too tight. You may have seen like some rappers or just people in general saying, man, you wear your clothes too tight. You don't need to do that. And they're saying that because it's understood that a man should never wear fitted clothes because it resembles him dressing like a woman. Because it's all right for a woman to wear fitted or tight clothing on the field in sports and off the field. But when it comes to a guy or a man, it's understood if you have fitted clothes on the field. But off the field, you cannot wear fitted clothing. However, Shannon Sharpe wears fitted clothing off the field, and he lets you know he loves his clothes to be fitted. So here's what's happening. They're associating the way Shannon Sharpe dresses as being feminine. And they're accusing Shannon Sharpe of being a homosexual. So the clip from Tony Gaskins also was a former athlete in high school and college. He didn't go professional like Shannon Sharpe, but he does work with professional athletes till this day, like now. Like he works as a coach, a mentor to professional athletes or even just athletes in college. So he knows a lot about sports, and he also knows how men view other men when it comes to their attire or the way they are around women. So Tony Gaskins was giving his views about Shannon Sharpe. And according to his statements, Tony Gaskins' statements, I believe that he thinks that Shannon Sharpe is acting out with women because he's fighting his sexual desires for men. In other words, I believe that Tony Gaskins, and not just Tony Gaskins, just men in general who consider themselves to be heterosexual men, the way they view men who are kind of soft-spoken, or they wear their clothes too tight, or they have gay male friends. Because Shannon Sharpe was seen publicly with his, I believe it's his stylist. I don't know if it's his hairstylist or he actually is his clothing stylist. I forget which one, but he's a very well-known stylist. And Shannon Sharpe was at a basketball game, and he showed up with him, and they were like on, you know how you get like court row seats. So they were right there at the court row seats at the game. And, you know, the media went crazy with taking pictures of Shannon Sharpe and his stylist. And they were shoulder to shoulder, literally. And everybody says, well, you know, Shannon Sharpe, you know, he's a big guy. He's swole. So maybe they just didn't have enough room. And that's why he was all up on him, on the stylist so close, which is the hairstylist or the clothing stylist is a black gay man. And he's Shannon Sharpe's stylist. And they said, well, why is Shannon Sharpe sitting shoulder to shoulder with this gay man? So the rumors went crazy, and they started accusing Shannon Sharpe of being a homosexual. And they said, more than likely, he's probably with his stylist, meaning they probably think they're in this secretive gay relationship. So the rumor mill went crazy. So a lot of men think that Shannon Sharpe is allegedly gay. And they think that he is what they refer to fighting his demons. Because, see, they always associate homosexuality with being something demonic, something evil, something perverted. And I do not agree that homosexuality is a perversion. I do not agree that homosexuality is demonic. However, in the industries, whether it's the music industry, the entertainment industry, the fashion industry, the film industry, or even the sports industry, there is a lot of talk about these industries being evil, and they have this gay agenda of turning out all of the men, especially if you're a black man. They say there's this gay agenda with athletes and rappers and singers and movie stars for them to all turn gay. And they refer to it as being demonic. And I just want to mention that although there may be what they call gay rituals that may occur in certain industries, this does not necessarily mean that these people are authentic homosexual people. All it means is there may be certain things, certain rituals, certain practices that people will engage in order to receive some type of compensation, whether it's financial compensation or some type of physical compensation that benefits them, like cars or clothes or houses. So that happens not even just in the industry, that can happen in everyday life. But a person being a homosexual, a genuine homosexual, is not converted or turned into a homosexual. That's just who they are. That's their sexual orientation. And your sexual orientation has nothing to do with what type of industry you work in. You can be in the film industry, you can be an athlete, you can be a rapper or a singer. That doesn't mean that because you work in that industry, all of a sudden now you're a homosexual. So it's like people blur the lines. They associate people who are in certain positions of power or in certain high profile positions as being a part of this gay agenda. And I don't think that people really know real life homosexual people, because you can see the disconnection of the way people talk about gay people and always refer them to as being in some type of ritual or some type of industry or being in some type of position to convert people into the homosexual lifestyle. And this even goes into the industry of church, because let me just say the church is an industry as well. So they're grouping all of this together, and they're not able to really process that not everything belongs in the same category. They don't know how to decipher and differentiate between an authentic homosexual person and a person who may just be in a position where they're being blackmailed, or they're in a position where they're willing to do whatever it takes to get what they want, whether it's financial means, maybe it's a person they want to be with, maybe they want to obtain physical attributions that make them feel better about themselves. So every situation is different for everyone, and I just completely do not support the idea that people are converted into being gay, or people are a part of a gay agenda to turn out all men or black men who are in certain industries. I do not know if Shannon Sharpe is a gay man. I do not know what his sexual orientation is. And honestly, it's none of my business. And when people talk about a man's sexual orientation, it's none of their business either. And I've never heard Shannon Sharpe admit to being a gay man. However, I will say this. Ever since they took pictures of him with his gay stylist, and that went crazy. And then it was another situation where I think he was going shopping or something, and they showed him with a dog. He had like a little dog he was carrying in the mall with him. And it's like one of those, I don't know what kind of breed of dog it was, but it was like a dog. It was a small dog. And people said, oh, that's the kind of dog a woman has. A grown man, a big old man like him, what is he doing with a dog like that? So he carries his dog with him sometimes when he goes shopping. So he was in the mall with his dog. So they had video of that. And then they show some other video where he's like I think in like a green, almost like tight fitted full bodysuit. And he was out, and about, and that went viral. And they made fun of him then. And they were calling him gay and all of these derogatory names. And I just thought it was horrible. I never found any of it humorous. And this is the reason why we have the down low. Because people are very immature, very childish, very mean-spirited to people who want to express themselves. Why is it a problem if a man is confident enough to go out and wear fitted clothes? If he wants to carry a little dog with him when he goes shopping, if he wants to wear a fitted bodysuit that is not considered a masculine color, well, I look at the man as being very confident. I like to see people express themselves. I don't take it personal when I see a man being himself. I just don't. If he's not harming anybody, if he's not disrespecting anyone, what is the big deal? I think it's so ridiculous that people make a big deal out of a man showing himself in a non-traditional way. That's all toxic masculinity to me, from these men who harp on a man because of the way he dresses. It actually makes me wonder, why is a heterosexual man so upset about another grown man doing whatever he wants to do? He's not bothering you. You're not wearing the clothes. He's not telling you to wear tight clothes. He's doing it himself. So why is a heterosexual man so worried about another grown man doing what he wants to do? It's his right. He's a free man. Why are you making the issue out of it? So I think all of this is toxic masculinity. I think that it's homophobic. And this is why we have closeted men. This is why we have down low men. And with Shannon Sharpe, because he was in the media for all this time, being dragged just for expressing himself as a grown man, all of a sudden, next thing we find out, there's this tape, this audio leaked on his Instagram where it sounds like he's in a very sexual situation with a woman. And he claims that it got leaked somehow. Who knows? But he's with this woman, and obviously, clearly, he's in a sexual relationship with this woman, and the audio got leaked. And I will be honest, I do believe that maybe because this man works in a sports industry, I believe ESPN, but of course he just stepped down because of this lawsuit that has been filed against him. But the man is in this very high profile sports industry, and because of all of the gay rumors, I think either someone had Shannon Sharpe leak that kind of audio intentionally to make him appear to be a heterosexual man. Maybe he did it on his own because he wanted to put an end to all of the gay rumors. I think the pressure that a lot of men feel, especially when they are high profile men such as Shannon Sharpe, they always have to present themselves as these macho masculine men. And if a man, and I say if because I'm not accusing or actually saying that Shannon Sharpe is a gay man. I don't know what his sexual orientation is. But hypothetically, if Shannon Sharpe is actually a gay man or a bisexual man, and he does not want the public to know, it makes sense why he would be tempted to prove to the world that he is a heterosexual man. And because of this makes him closeted. And he will do things intentionally, or he'll have someone on his team, no pun intended, but like literally the people that he works for in the industry or who work with him, they probably said, hey man, you need to go on and do something, get something out there. I don't know, release a flick, something with you with a woman so they know that you the man. You know what I'm saying? So that audio got leaked or intentionally released to prove that he is a heterosexual man. Fast forward to now. Now we have this woman who's, I don't think they showing pictures of her, but Shannon Sharpe did a video saying her name, and her name has been released, of course, because of the lawsuit. But she's this OnlyFans P-star, and she's filing a lawsuit, a very serious lawsuit of essay and grape. She is accusing Shannon Sharpe of essaying her, graping her, allegedly. And so, is it possible that Shannon Sharpe is getting involved with these women who he should have not even been involved with in the first place? And let me just say, you don't have to be involved with anyone. You can be single. But the society we live in is a very harsh, cruel world. And when you are a man and a black man and you don't have a woman in your life, people start looking at you like you suspect. In other words, they think you're gay. And so a man will feel a certain amount of pressure to perform with women to make it appear that he is a straight man. And when they do this, they end up doing things that they'll end up regretting later. They get involved with any kind of woman because they're not using good judgment. They want to involve themselves with the most low vibrational women because, for one, they know that they don't really want to be in a relationship with a good woman. Because if you really are a gay man, you don't want to be with a woman. But if you get with a woman to try to prove that you are a heterosexual man, more than likely you're going to choose the kind of woman who does not value herself. And so he resorts to get himself involved with a very young woman Yes, she's legal, but she is very young compared to him. She was 19 at the time. He was 54. She's now 21. He's now 56. He's old enough to be her father. And yet, allegedly, he's been in this consensual sexual relationship with this very young woman who clearly was getting paid from Shannon Sharpe for the sexual favors. In other words, she gets paid in exchange for having sex. Men who are married, they have more responsibility. They have a wife. Usually their wife holds them accountable. They have more responsibility. Whereas a man, if he stays single, he doesn't have that accountability. He doesn't have a wife. And he can hide things more. So if you are a single man like Shannon Sharpe, you don't have a wife, you don't have those type of responsibilities of being a husband, and then you're this high profile man and everybody's calling you gay. They're making fun of you. They're talking about the way you dress. They say you walk around with poodle dogs like a female. Well, this can get to you, right? And then you work in this industry as a high profile. He's a television host, you know. I don't know the specific title, but we know that he works for, I think, ESPN, but he did actually step down because of this lawsuit. But you're under all this pressure. You're not thinking clearly. You're just doing whatever you can to just get people off your back, so you don't want them to think that you're gay. So you'll get involved with women who don't care about you. Women who want to use you. Women who can actually become famous off of you. So he resorts to being with this young lady. And she, of course, is getting paid to have sex with him, allegedly. And then she files a lawsuit against him. Well, men who are single, men who don't want anybody to know that they're gay or bisexual, they will usually pay women for sexual favors. Yes, heterosexual men do pay for sex from women, but I found it very interesting that Shannon Sharpe allegedly is paying for sex with a OnlyFans P-star. This man, in his position, he can literally have any woman he wants to who would want him. Like, genuinely want him. He could be married. He could have a wife, but he doesn't have one. And he's paying someone who doesn't have any type of professional background. She doesn't have to be a professional athlete, but she should have some type of profession that does not involve devaluing herself sexually. Being in the sex work industry is extremely dangerous. You're exposed to sexually transmitted diseases and infections. You're exposed to pregnancy. You are exposed to literally losing your life. You don't have to pay to be with a woman. You don't have to pay her to be with her. And the type of sexual acts that allegedly he was doing with this sex worker, some men claim that when a man wants to perform certain sex acts with women, it makes them gay. They say that heterosexual men do not like certain sexual acts with women. And so because now this has come out into the open because it's a lawsuit, allegedly this OnlyFans P-star is accusing Shannon Sharpe of forcing anal penetration on her without a condom. meaning she did not consent to that type of sexual act. When you are pressured to be this masculine jock of a man, and you're this black man who is this great former athlete, or you're in some type of prestigious position, and everybody's making fun of you and questioning your sexuality, well, you get yourself in some really strange situations. And I do not condone any type of misconduct against another person that is not consensual. I am not making excuses for Shannon Sharpe. If he is guilty of what he is being accused of, well, then he's going to have to pay for the consequences. But I just want to discuss how it is possible for men to get themselves involved with women in very dangerous situations just to prove that they're a heterosexual man. And it's not worth it. You have to learn to be yourself. You have to learn to love yourself. And I actually like the fact that Shannon Sharpe was wearing his fitted clothing, his colorful clothing, walking with his dog in his hand, showing up at a game with a gay man. But just because other people don't respect you for such a trivial reason, because you're not like them, because you're not heterosexual, you have to be strong enough to continue to be a man. I hope that Shannon Sharpe seeks out the best help for him. And in a time like this, you're going to need therapy, you're going to need life coaching, and you also need spiritual healing, because this is not going to be easy. And his life is now changed, ultimately forever. And I just hope that this can be a lesson for anyone who is pressured to be someone who they are not. Don't do it to please other people, because you will find yourself in situations that you may not be able to overcome. I am Giselle Wallace, certified gay life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. Thank you for listening.